So we have covered logic controllers. So we have left the two things that we'll cover it now. Okay, we covered listeners, timers, thread group. Okay, so we are left with pre/post processor, command line, coding, thread groups, plugins, distributed config, CSV. Okay, samples. So this is your left in the syllabus. So this every topic will take around 10 to 15 minutes only. Okay, so we'll be mostly completing in 5 to 10 classes. Okay, so let's start with today with the command line. So whenever you open JMeter, right, you will see like this. Do not use GUI mode for load testing, only for test creation and test debugging. For load testing, use CLI mode, which is a non-GUI. Okay, earlier the name called non-GUI means we are not able to use interaction of GUI, we are using command line. So you call command line mode. Okay, so what happens, right? Whenever you are going for higher load test, no, this memory will take a lot of time, this UI, because we'll have a lot of components, registry and some other components, and a lot of things will be there, no? So by default, whenever going for higher memory, JMeter will take a lot of memory from your machine. If your machine has 16 GB or 64 GB RAM or 32 GB RAM and you're doing a medium load test, it's fine. But whenever you're going for 8 GB or 4 GB RAM and going for thousands of load tests, then your JMeter will throw a socket connection error, system timeout error, memory out of error of the system, not server errors, our system, because the system can't support the memory, so that it can't create a thread, so it can't create the load. So at that time, the possible way to get the to execute without any issues. Let me show you where is Java here. You can see, right, Java in the implemented. So whenever I run a load tester, this memory will be increasing. And right now I have only 45 memory percent available in my machine. So whenever it crosses that one, your JMeter will be not responding, and it will go hanging state. It could be anything. Okay, or not responding state. So in those cases, so we can execute the things in a command line, so that it will take, instead of taking 1 GB memory, it will take around 700 to 600 MB. Not like a 50%, at least 20 to 30% difference would be there. Okay, so for do that, we need to learn few commands. Okay, so let's see those one by things. Let me open another command prompt. Okay, so the first thing is you have to enter, or you have to go in the bin location. Wherever a JMeter is downloaded or wherever you capture it, you have to go to the bin location, because all commands will work from this location only. Okay, so how we'll do cd. Okay, on bin location. So if I do pwd, okay, pwd, okay. So now we're in bin location. So the first basic command is you have to go JMeter -n. Generally, if you click on JMeter, right, if you click enter, it will open JMeter. Correct, the UI. But now what I'm saying is JMeter -n. I'm telling the JMeter to open a non-GUI mode. -n represents for non-GUI mode. So that it won't open the UI, it will run in the command line.
Okay.
Okay. So JMeter -n -t. Test plan. We have to share the test plan name, right? So then how it will know? So -t test plan. So we have to give the JMX path. Wherever should be right. Suppose we kept everything in the here. Okay, let's take our manual API. Control C / just a minute, guys. Okay, sorry, right? So just give the file name manual API. So what I'm saying, JMeter minus n. I'm telling you JMeter to open in non-GM mode and run this path JMX. Okay, just click on enter. See, it executed the test and it's showing some error and end of the run. So whatever, suppose in the manual image JMX, if I give 50 users, 100,000 users, it will run. If it's not able to run right, it will again stuck and it will show the errors. Okay, but do you now can we check what is errors or what is happening here, right? We can't check because it's a command line. Whereas in the UI, we can run anything and we can show here. So to check the logs or to check the output, right? So we have an option, same JMeter minus n minus t minus L listener, right? Minus L listener. I will say, let me give what is date today, 15, right? 15 July dot JTL means even though I'll run it, all my results will save into this JTL file, so that I don't have to worry about results. Okay, and same time I want to see the JMeter log, right? If something error happening in the console, we'll get here. If I click on this, we'll get logs here. No, something wrong happened. So same thing. If you want to get that log, you have to give minus J, JMeter log minus J. I will give 15 July hyphen test dot log. So that even though we are not able to see anything, after the test, we load the JTL and we can check the log. See by default, I didn't give any path, right? So it will save in the bin location because we are in default in the bin location.
Okay.
Let's see. So let's open the log. This log. See, this is like general how it will load, how it sorted. That will display the log. And again, if you open JTL, with the results. We have two APIs only. So it's showing this logs. The data. So now you can use this JTL in anywhere in JMeter to understand. Suppose if I open add a listener, aggregate report, browse. Okay, 15 users JTL, right? Yes, 15 user. See, displayed the data. Because we have 100% of error where it's a failing with assertion. Suppose if I add Virudashree, you can browse, same JTL, 15 user test JTL. Okay, here it displays. Okay, it is showing off assertion failure, so it's not display that. So anywhere you can open the JTL and you can confirm it. Okay, right. So this is how we use a command line. Understood, right? Again, JMeter minus n non-GUI minus t or test plan name. So if it's somewhere spaces in the folder name, right, you have to put in double quotes. Okay, and minus L 15 July. I mean, minus L is listener where it will use the JT. So now you would have one got down. Suppose in the manual API JMX, right? Let me open that. Open recent. Okay, we have one user. So if I run it, right, it will run with one user only. Correct. If I give 5 and save the script, and if run again, it will run with 5 users. See, we got 2 here and we got 10 here because of 5 users. 5 to the 10, na?
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, every time you have to come here and you have to update. Correct. Suppose you're doing some test, every time you have to open the JMX and give the number and update it. So that's little bit not worth it, right? It's a time wasting process. So what we can do, right? We can send the user number as from here as well, from the command line itself. So for that, we have to learn the P option parameter. function helper dialog. It's a P parameter is P. Okay. Suppose if I give users and default value 1. Okay, so this is a function of P where it will pass the data from outside to inside at anywhere. Okay, let's copy that. And I will put, instead of users, right, I will put here. So what does it mean? Whenever user value is not filling up, by default it will run with one user. Okay. Now let's see. Let me save this one. So now we need to pass this user from here. Minus P users equal to, so let me run with 10. So what it will happen now? It will pass the user's value inside there, the 10. Let's run, see. Not sure. I need to check it again. Okay. Some mistake. It's minus D, not P here. Okay, now we should get 10 into 220, right? See, we got 20. Because minus D is the system argument value, and whatever the inside you give, right, the users, or wherever the script. So we have to like this way. Suppose, see, let me do same thing with the ramp up. Control C, ramp up. Same way. Now what I will do? Minus D. Same. What are the field I given, right? Ramp up equal to 2. Same thing with a little bit more time it will take, kind of. Okay. Now let me run past that users with 7, so that you don't have to wait. I mean, you don't have to open the JMX and do that. Okay. And so in sometimes, if you are mostly using in the office machines, right? Sometimes you are not allowed to execute or download some outside things. Some external APIs. If you want extra office, it won't work. So we have to add a proxy. So in that case also we have to use a command. Let's see. JMaker. Okay. JMaker minus H proxy. So each company has one proxy server name that we have to find out. So let's take a proxy company of XYZ.net and minus P port, some port 8080. If you click on enter, it will open JMeter with connecting to this proxy server. So whatever you did, it will go to the proxy and it will work. So you have to also understand how we can set the proxy in JMeter. Okay, it's clear, right? Understood, right? So you have to be identically remember these things. Minus N, minus T, minus L, minus G. Minus N for non-GUI, minus T test plan name, minus a listener where we'll save the JTL file, and minus J is a JMeter log. J stands for saving log. Whenever you want to property pass the users and fields, you have to use minus D inside, I mean outside here, and the JMX you have to define as a P parameter. Okay, so this is a non-GUI commands. And we have one more thing, which is a generating HTML report. Okay, so right now, whenever we are doing these listeners and everything, right? So we have 4 to 5 graphs are there, different types of data is there. So how we will share this all to a client? So that's why we have a, by default, we have a JMeter report of JMeter. Okay, that's very easy to generate it. So there are 2 ways to generate. So one thing is At the time of execution, if you want to generate it, will generate it. Otherwise, if you have a JTL file, you can pass that input as JTL and can execute it. Okay, so let's see. So let's see the first one. By executing itself, let's generate. Okay, so now I need to do -E extend report E, and you have to give the one output folder name. So let's give output folder any name. It should be empty folder HTML. So when you enter it, it execute. Okay, its JTL is not empty. Let's give other name. Okay. So it will execute the test and it will create the report and generate it. Okay, let's go to the bin location. See 15 June HTML is there. So it will generate this format. So if you click on index.html, see it opened the HTML report. This is a standard HTML report. Okay, so it has three sections: dashboard, charts, and custom graphs. So main thing is on dashboard, like when it started, how it started, how many APIs are there, what is the reports, and if there is errors, what type of errors are there, and how these errors coming from each API, and everything it will display. So by seeing this report, anyone can understand what is happening in a high level. And same as if you go to charts, it have different charts. So let's go to charts and go to response times. So we have two APIs, right? So it's display two APIs and display what is the response times throughout the test. Okay, and second way is, suppose if you don't want to do it on the runtime. So if you have already JTL, then you have to generate the HTML report, right? That JMeter -G, and you have to give the JTL file, and -O again output HTML2. So if you have already JTL, then it's generated. So let's go to HTML2 folder. See, generate HTML2, same thing. So you just zip this file and share it to your client or manager, whoever required. Otherwise, you can host this somewhere in the application. You can pass that link if you don't want to do like this. If you know deployment server activity, then you can do like that. So this is a HTML way. So you should be, suppose you don't know what are the commands you require, so just simply jmeter -help. Okay, they will tell you what is the pandas, command prompt, and they are just given a few things here to understand. Okay, or jmeter -help. Or just give jmeter some wrong value, then display. So display what are the values that we have. Okay, so just disconnect now, just rejoin again. Okay, I'm just rejoining.